This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Tuesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM Channel 158. It's Gil Alexander alongside Dustin Sweetelson in the Kelly Bidlin chair today. How you doing, man?
It's like people are tuning in. They think it's a late night infomercial for Nutrisystem, and I'm the before picture of Kelly Bidlin from 2 years ago.
Or it's Shull. It's one or the other. Not sure. Dustin, so glad to see you. Dustin will be here with us all week long. Big baseball guy, among other things. Knows all the sports, but loves baseball, so we'll talk a lot of baseball this week. You can follow him, of course, at Dustin Sweetelson. Dustin, who is very familiar to all VSiN listeners and viewers. Today on the show, it is NBA draft morning, first round of the NBA draft. Do you have NBA draft fever? No? Yes.
Fever. I'll tell you, I will enjoy the draft based on how my 3 bets on the draft go.
It's a couple more than I have. Guess who's been talking about who the 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been since like the lottery and never made a bet on it? That would be me.
But what were you going to do? The exacta and then sit back and watch it play out? What was that really paying out?
Well, yeah, I was not happy with the price that it was, right? I wanted it to be plus money. I was sitting here moaning about it being minus 105. Now it's in the stratosphere. But you live and you learn. I was in California. I should have bet it on Calci this weekend. All of my attempts to mule it out have failed. James Barlow, NBA draft consultant for NBA Draft Junkies, by the way. We'll talk draft with him later this hour. Drew Dinsick, of course, in his normal Tuesday spot, talking draft tonight, talking Giannis trade, which we'll obviously lead with here, any grass court tennis he's got. By the way, trying to put together a nice little grass court tennis night for subscribers, if you followed mine. So we'll see how that goes here, if we can get a clean sheet. Joe Sheehan on Major League Baseball, Paul Carr on the World Cup, another quadruple header, the final quadruple header in terms of all the game 2s of the group stage today. So Paul has all his thoughts. Tomorrow we have 6 games a day with the game 3s in all the group. But Dustin, we start, of course, with the big news last night. I guess the East Coast was probably asleep mainly for this.
Yeah, I think there's some Boston Celtics fans who may be waking up right now going, wait, what happened? When I looked at the prediction markets, it looked like a foregone conclusion. I want to say around 60% that Giannis was going to wind up with the Celtics, and now he is a Miami Heat.
He is a member of the Miami Heat. In case you missed it, in case you're trapped under a heavy object, Giannis Antetokounmpo, easily, conservatively, top 5 player in the NBA, one of the all-time greats, who won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, 2-time MVP, NBA Finals MVP, just the accolades flow. He and Bobby Portis end up going from the from the Bucks to the Heat, and in return, the Bucks acquire Tyler Hero, who is a Wisconsin native, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparis Yakashonis, 3 first-round picks, including number 13 tonight, so the Bucks have 10 and 13. 1 pick swap, 1 second-round pick way out there as well. This ends up being, as you said, Dustin, really a surprise in the end, and I guess Bucks ownership, now I'm just speculating, but I think this is probably the case, they probably could not risk in the end the notion of Jaylen Brown saying in about a year, you know what, guys, this has been fun, deuces.
Yeah, and I think they also avoided a trap with that situation, is that Jaylen Brown, while it appears he was a number 1 this year for Boston with Tatum out of the lineup, I don't see him as a number 1. I know he's won Finals MVP. I know he's a great defender. And I know he put up a lot of really great volume stats a year ago because he had more opportunities on a depleted Celtics team that needed someone to score on top of Tatum not being available. You throw in the analytics department for Boston. It was a perfect storm for Jaylen Brown to have an incredible season. But I think the Milwaukee Bucks avoided the potential disaster of having to talk themselves into treating Jaylen Brown like a guy who can lead them to the promised land, because he's just not that.
Well, and now, so a lot of people saying, well, how are the Celtics going to continue with Jaylen Brown now that he's been dangled out there? I'm not sure that's not overrated a little bit. I don't know if you're dangled for Giannis, that might not be the most damaging thing in the world. I could be wrong. We'll see.
I think Windhorst had a report earlier today on ESPN saying that it's going to be like a bidding war now for Jaylen Brown. So we're going to see a lot of offers going Boston's way. if I was going to pinpoint a team that I think makes sense for Jaylen Brown, you're going to need an organization that would be desperate for a superstar. I think Atlanta would be the team that I'd talk about. But I think for Milwaukee, what they got in return, the draft picks are awesome, especially the ones down the road.
Yeah, by the way, I should be more clear about that. It's not only tonight's 13th overall, but it's the 2030 first-round pick swap. Unprotected first-rounders in 31 and 33. We're only talking about 30s now.
And that's the Wild West. We don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, I'm sure there's a CBA being discussed between now and then.
Dustin, I don't know if we'll all be here. Then.
You know what? With me, every morning it's a prayer. I'd say this from perspective of Miami for the Bucks, getting Hero, Ware, Jaquez, Giacchionis. You have pieces that if any of them really pop and they don't fit into the timeline, you can trade them for more assets down the road. I think you gave yourself more versatility in this rebuild if you're Milwaukee by taking the offer of a bunch of different parts versus just settling on Jaylen Brown and one or two pieces.
That's right. It's the fear of Jaylen Brown wanting to up and leave at some point. Milwaukee ownership could not take that chance, and the fact that it is a completely clean slate now for the Milwaukee Bucks as far as the Heat is concerned, because obviously they're the ones with the star power now. You have a projected starting lineup of Bam and Giannis up front. How about that, Twin Towers? Andrew Wiggins, who I love, obviously, former Warrior. Davion Mitchell is your point. Now, Norman Powell would be the fifth. I don't know if they can afford to keep him based on sort of salary cap things. The point is that you don't have much depth beyond that. Bobby Portis, obviously, being the key cog of the depth beyond that. But they gotta buttress this team now. That's their job between now and the season. Here are your betting odds movements. The Heat go in Eastern Conference odds from 18-1 to plus 650 to win the championship, 40-1 to 20-1, and Giannis to win the MVP. To me, is the most interesting of this because I don't think it's currently constituted unless the Heat can just pull rabbits out of their proverbial hats with complementary players between now and the season. I mean, I'm sure they'll contend in the East, but I'm not racing to bet them to win the East or win the title based on an incomplete team. But Giannis to win MVP last year, Dustin, in a career-low 36 games, because he was nagged by injuries, right? He had a left groin strain. Then he had a nagging right calf strain that made him miss games a couple times. Then late in the season, you may remember, middle of March, left knee hyperextension and bone bruise, so he missed the rest of the year. Career-low 36 appearances. He still went 27.6 points a game, 9.8 boards, 5.4 assists. According to Dunks and Threes, they do a thing called estimated plus minus. He was plus 7.4, fourth in the NBA, behind SGA, Wembanyama, and Jokic. That's, by the way, estimated plus minus advanced metric that calculates a player's net point contribution per 100 possessions, isolates individual impact by adjusting for team strength, opposing lineups, and player tracking data. So he's still one of the greats, man. We've seen nothing to disabuse us of that notion.
Yeah, I love Giannis. I love what he brings to the table. I just think the roster construction is a little clunky right now for 2026.
Yeah.
Bam, I know what he did against Washington. Tremendous. But Bam and Giannis, that feels like a really good matchup when you get to the finals to take down Wembanyama, right? That feels like the goal, the objective here, to put together a lineup that can beat the Spurs. I just don't know how they get to the finals.
No, I don't either.
I don't know if are they that much closer in your eyes to being a championship contender, or at least are they top 3, top 4, top 5 in the East?
Yeah, I think they're probably top 4, top 5 conservatively. I don't think this is by the way, Giannis, 10-time All-Star, in addition to being a 2-time MVP, champ in 2021 with the Bucks. I don't think that this is with the eye. Now, maybe they, if at public facing, they'll say, we're going to win we're contending for the championship this year. But I think 2 years, right? Not next year, but the year after, and the year after that, all of a sudden, once you have time to construct that roster, then you do become perhaps the prohibitive favorite in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, here's my concerns. You've got Giannis, who's played 70 games one time since 2019. The Miami Heat sacrificed their three-point shooting in an era where you have to be able to do that. You trade Ware, who's a big man who can stroke it, 39.5%. Powell, probably not going to be able to be retained here because of the Giannis contract, 38%. Hero is a 37.8% shooter. And then Giacchionis, the kid at Illinois that they traded, is a 42.3% a limited time contributor off the bench. They were 10th in the league in three-point percentage last year, 12th in attempts. They're not going to be better from beyond the arc because I don't know who you're adding in this roster because I don't know where the money comes from to get an impact guy who can shoot. And to me, I think I have them like 7th in the East, even with the Giannis move, because I have trust issues with him being on the floor.
Yeah, well, they need guards. They need bodies. They really do at this point. And they have time to work that out. They will have an actual roster they can put on the court. But yeah, I don't look at this as a one-year thing. I don't view this as, oh, wow, this will catapult the Heat this year. But give me next year, the year after, I'm probably in on him. Giannis MVP, though, again, just going back to his numbers, that's not a terrible number. I mean, if you go beyond, listen, SGA and Wemby and Jokic, the usual suspects, are going to be at the top of that market, of course. If you're looking for a longer shot, the worst thing in the world, because he could be a stat hog, knowing the roster construction. By the way, it's only the 6th time in the history of the NBA, Dustin, where a multiple-time MVP has been traded. 1968, the Sixers traded Wilt to the Lakers. You remember that one.
I was there.
1975, the Bucks traded Kareem to the Lakers. I mean, this is just like, a who's who Hall of Famer list. 1982, I do remember this. The Rockets traded Moses to the Sixers. Sixers won the championship the next year, but Moses had the benefit of having the doctor there and Andrew Toney to compliment him in 1983. 2010, of course, famously, the Heat got LeBron in a sign-and trade with the Cavs. 2012, the Lakers got Steve Nash. That one's not quite like the others. In a sign-and trade with the Suns. That didn't really work out for the Lakers as Nash played, I think, like less than 70 games ultimately with the Lakers. And then the Bucks get Giannis, or Bucks trade Giannis, pardon me, to the Heat. That's the list. This is a rarity in the National Basketball Association. It finally happened. I didn't think it was going to be the Heat, but you know what? I kind of get it from Bucks ownership in the end.
The Heat, they're in Miami, so players always want to play there. That's the benefit they always get.
And that's the other thing, by the way. The Bucks know they are not a free agent destination. So maybe this, just hauling draft picks, it's the only way to go for a franchise like Milwaukee. We'll come back. Dustin's got some baseball futures he wants to talk about. Next.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM Channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, Mitch back from vacation. We kick it off with England and Ghana. The Meat Man, Steve Wiss, is back, World Cup perspective. Quick hit with Mike Palm from Circa. Derek Stevens hops on the show as well. And the draft is here. Giannis trade, who goes 1, 2, and 3? Follow the Money, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158.
Postgame on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It came out yesterday. The VSiN NFL Betting Guide 1.0. Whether you're betting futures, win totals, division races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, Super Bowl odds, our guide helps you get ahead of the market before training camps even begin. Inside, you'll find breakdowns of all 32 teams, projected win totals, best bets from VSiN experts, futures analysis, power ratings, and more. Get it today with our football special. It's just $175. Sooner you sign up, the more value you get with full access to everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. That includes daily best bets, real-time betting splits for DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, and 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe now. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. You got your plays in there as well, right, Dustin?
I do. I have a couple of futures that I like, a win total, an MVP bet, and there'll be more that I add because I think in the process of my MVP research for the play that I put in there, I think I came up with an offensive player of the year bet I like as well.
Okay. We'll review them later. We'll do some of that later from the guide as we tease what's in there. By the way, tennis real quick for subscribers. 2-0 on the overnight. Tatiana Maria beat Jasmine Paolini in straight sets. By the way, I like the size of these green check marks, by the way. That's outstanding.
Those are pretty large.
Those are very large. Those were big wins.
What are we compensating for with Gil's check mark right now?
Jeez. That's the first time they've been that large. Wang Xinyu beat Leylah Fernandez in straight sets. That was a winner at plus 113. Tatiana Maria was minus 109. And these two were in progress as the show began. Pana Udvardy was the longest dog of the bunch, plus 137. She's up a set. She's up 3-2 on serve in the second. And guess what Anna Bondar does, Dustin? She walks off the court, took her toys and went home. So we're not going to, we always, when anybody walks off the court, we never, there are books where you will get the cash for Udvardy, but for our purposes, we're always consistent. We don't count that as a winner. We count that as a refund, whether it's a win or loss. We always grade based on full match completion. But there are books that if you had Udvardy, you will win. We're just not going to grade here. The only other one that's going on is Laura Siegemund versus Sarah Beliek, and that one is on serve in the third. So that one's coin flippy right now to see if we can go 3-0 or 2-1. Either way, a winning day in tennis yet again. But if we hit Siegemund, that would be our 7th consecutive winner. So let's try to get that.
How often does someone walk off the court?
Oh, dude. Can I call you dude? By the way?
Yeah, that's cool.
All the time. It's so frustrating.
Is it? I feel like this is going to sound wild. Not an American thing to do. I feel like our thing is we go down till the very end, like Jon Snow style in Game of Thrones.
You know what? You're kind of right about that. It's not usually an American player.
That blows my, where's your competitive spirit? Where's your belief? How many times have you seen underdogs pull something off? Can you imagine the World Cup if one of these underdogs is down 2 goals, they just walked off the pitch?
In soccer, I almost can't imagine it with all the fake injuries. By the way, the fake injuries still bother me so much. No, but we actually track this. So I'm betting these. We're absolutely tracking all of these results, and we did a thing on the walk-offs. We actually analyzed all the walk-offs. Would we have been likely to win or likely to lose? Were we in a position of winning or a position of losing? And because people say that stuff evens out. No. It does not even out. There was a year, I want to say it was 2023 or 2024, got destroyed on those. So I'm still trying to make up for that year on these.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, is it more likely that it's an underdog that realizes they don't have enough for the fight, or is it a favorite who's just getting their butt whooped and embarrassed and doesn't want it to continue?
You know what it could be here? I mean, I wasn't watching. I didn't have eyes on it. But it honestly, it's the week before a major. She probably doesn't feel, she's getting beat by someone, a countrywoman, they're both Hungarian, who is the underdog. Maybe she's just like, I don't know, maybe she's legit hurt, or maybe she's just like, yeah, you know what, I don't feel like
Save my best stuff for when it matters more.
Yeah. All right, you're a big baseball guy.
So are you.
Yeah, I am. Love that about you. And you were, last night on text, you were like, oh boy, I like a few of these, actually several of these.
Yeah, there's 4 teams that jump out to me. I'm looking for a buy low opportunity. I just think there's still so much more baseball to be played here. And I went back last year. I looked at what I did at this point a year ago. I added the Mariners at like 12-1 in the AL. I added, it was Milwaukee, I think 35 or 40-1 to win the National League. Obviously, neither of those tickets won, but I was able to make money on them, and it also afforded me an opportunity when the playoffs started to take the Dodgers at 5-1 to win the World Series as a hedge of a bunch of really long futures, so I ended up with a profitable baseball season in the end. And I was looking at the standings. I said, you know what, let's go back a year ago. And I've done this exercise a couple times now. But a year ago on this date, the standings didn't tell the story of how things were going to go. But the books begin at this point. As we approach the All-Star break in a few weeks, they start pricing things as if this is how it's going to wind up shaking out.
Right.
And I just don't think that's the case. So let me go back before we go forward. So a year ago, you had the Yankees leading the East. I don't even remember this. Apparently Tampa Bay won that division, or Toronto won that division.
Yes.
Toronto won that division. Boston, who was 500, wound up making the playoffs as well. In the NL East, Philly was up a single game and a half on the New York Mets. The Mets missed the playoffs completely. So you have to remember that the Mets were 46-33. They were still there in the East. They missed the playoffs. In the Central,
Mets fans remember that well.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah.
The Tigers had a 10-game lead over the Guardians. Guardians won that division.
Don't remind me.
Milwaukee was 3 back of the Cubs. They won the division. Oh, by the way, the Reds, who were 3 games above 500, they made the playoffs. And then in the NL West, you had San Francisco. You know this well. Only 4 back of the Dodgers. They missed the playoffs. The Padres in 3rd place. They wind up making the postseason. I just think there's some opportunities, whether it's to win the division or make the playoffs. There are teams where the numbers I don't think are right now.
Point well taken. It's such a long season. It's 6 months, the regular season. We are not quite yet at the halfway point. So what are the ones you loved?
All right, I'm going to start with the ones that I love first because I did place a bet on this first one.
And I will react to all.
So the Detroit Tigers, I bet them to win the division at 7-1 last night. This thing moved from 11-1 to 7-1 last night. 4 wins in a row, 12-6 run. Tarek Skubal is back. Trio in this lineup. Dingler has 18 home runs, best WAR among catchers. McConaughey, going to win AL Rookie of the Year, 285, just 42 strikeouts at shortstop. Riley Green's hitting almost 300, but this coincides with the injury to Jose Ramirez, which is what everything revolves around for Cleveland here. Since he went down on 6-13, Detroit's 5-2, Guardians are 2-5. I think the division is ripe for the taking. And I think at that point, I want to take a little flyer on them to win the AL just because if Skubal somehow isn't traded and you get him in a series, you can still make a run here if you're the Tigers.
Okay, I'm not going to comment on AL pennant because it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. I don't love it, but okay. But I'll do the make-miss playoffs.
Yes.
I'll give you the positive and the negative that I see it. First of all, you're right, just 5 games out of the lead of the division. 5 games out of the wild card, 6.5 out of the division. You bet them to make the playoffs or to win the division?
Win the division. Playoffs was not up last night.
Okay.
I'll look right now. I think I saw a plus 450 at DK to make the playoffs.
So the obvious thing is that I have a positive and a negative. The positive is they're actually at 34-44 based on Pythagorean theorem. They ought to be 39-39, and based on sequencing, they ought to be 41-37. So they are really underperforming. So that's a huge positive in that column. The negative, of course, as you know, is they better win here in the short term, as they have been, by the way, in the month of June. They've been really good in the month of June. Second best team in June behind the Marlins right now. 4-game winning streak. But if they all of a sudden flounder here, Skubal could be gone, Gleyber Torres could be gone, Casey Mize could be gone, Kenley Jansen could be gone. They could all be gone. So that's the downside.
It's basically a bet on, do you think the Tigers ownership is going to stick with Skubal? Like, how scared are they about this contract negotiation?
You're basically betting the Tigers' short runway here. You're like, you got to be good now, and then they'll keep everybody.
Yeah, they've got to do it in the next 2 weeks, or this thing could get blown up. And I do think with Ramirez out for the next 2 weeks as well, I think that's the window, and I think they're capable.
What number did you get on the Tigers to win the division?
Win it at 7-1 last night.
Okay.
7-1. All right, the next one that I like that I have not done anything other than I added a little bit to win the AL at 30-1 is the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh, man.
Now, the Baltimore Orioles are, I get everyone looks at them. There was a lot of moves in the offseason. I think because they have a new ownership group that has a little bit of money, they're going to be aggressive here if they're in that window to win a wild card. And right now, I see them right in the mix. This is a team I actually think should be in on Tarek Skubal if he's made available. I think they have enough players, ready-made guys, young, controllable, middle-of-the-order potential guys down the road that Detroit could be looking for in a trade. And the one thing they really lack is starting pitching. However, it's been rectified some lately. Kyle Bradish has been really good over the last month. Brandon Young somehow with smoke and mirrors is doing really strong, 2.15 ERA, last 6 starts. The bullpen's finally healthy with Helsley back. And Pete Alonso has picked up the power. Last month, 8 homers, 889 OPS, hitting 284, driving in runs. I think the offense is improving. I think the pitching is improving, but I think they need to add an arm. It would be a bet that you believe that they are going to add another impact arm in this rotation.
Unlike the Tigers, where I can give you positive news on Pythagorean theorem and sequencing, the Orioles are kind of what they are. Yep. They're a 38-42 team, however you slice it. If I go to the FanGraphs final season projections for both the two teams you've talked about already, the Tigers and the Orioles, you won't like this so much. Tigers 77-85, Orioles 79-83. By the way, the Orioles would miss the playoffs by a game in that scenario.
Unless they trade for Skubal, which kills the Tiger bet, but makes the Oriole bet better.
That's true, unless they do that. Unless Eddie Murray comes back and plays for him, prime Eddie. We'll get more of those. NBA draft next.
Biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
They're still talking about it.
I think it's time to put the rumors to rest.
Showtime.
$30 million.
$30 million?
$30 million? $30 million?
That's $30 million guaranteed. 3 contests, multiple ways to win, no rate. Entry starting at $1,000. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network. Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Derek Stevens has outdone himself. $30 million in guaranteed prizes. Cash in this football season in Las Vegas with 3 Circa Sports contests. Entry starting at $1,000, all with no rake. Let me repeat that, no rake. That's what sets Circa apart. That means every dollar stays in the prize pool. Circa Million, 18 weeks, 128 ways to win. Circa Survivor, pick one winner each week. Last one standing wins. And, of course, Circa Grandissimo for the high rollers, $100,000 entry. You got multiple entries in that, Dustin? Like Grandissimo?
Oh, yeah. No, I've got to lie. I mortgaged my house for 3 entries.
Oh, that sounds sound reasoning there. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere, $30 million guaranteed. Visit circasports.com for details. We get tweets, by the way. This is from Manny Davison. Pumped for the Gil-Dustin duo today. Thank you, Manny. Appreciate it, as am I. Paulie68. I totally feel Giannis is a very good player, but can I also ask, what does he do real well besides drive the ball to the basket? 3-point shooting? Mid-range jumper? Foul shooting? Just someone enlighten me. Well, Paulie, let me start with he's one of the greatest players of all time. What was that? That was not one of your better tweets. Even like I said, even with injuries last year, he averaged 27.6, 9.8 boards, 5.4 assists. Again, estimated plus minus, plus 7.4, fourth best in the NBA. And that's when he was banged up and only played 36 games. I mean, still one of the greats. Buddhist man. Dustin looks like he's sitting at the mega bar as the show begins. Keep an eye on his printouts, Gil. It's the first sign of an upcoming encroachment. I heard you got flagged for encroachment when you were here with Kelly.
Kelly was not happy. He said my papers crossed the horizon. But here's what I said. I felt I was sitting closer to the horizon than Kelly was, kind of like we are right now, which allowed me more space to use going into his end of the desk. That's all.
Benny Brigman made my morning with the Andrew Toney mention. You are welcome. 83 Sixers. Fo. iHeart SEC podcast. Minus 550. Dustin Sweetelson had a pair of American flag boxers in his dresser. Has a pair in his dresser.
Oh, currently, no, but I am in the process of purchasing American flag overalls that I can wear.
Oh, okay.
Shorts, though. Shorts overalls.
Maybe on air one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just figuring out if I go undergarments or not with that.
All right. With all this Giannis trade talk, oh, by the way, it's the NBA draft tonight. First round, that is. And we look forward to seeing if anybody's bets cashes, because I didn't end up making the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I hate myself for it. James Barlow joins us now, NBA draft consultant over there at NBA Draft Junkies. You can follow him on Twitter at Draft Junkie James. He joins us now courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Really appreciate you for having me on.
Thanks for making the time. Before we get to your draft thoughts, Giannis to the Heat. Did you anticipate that, and how do you see this working out for the Heat?
The reports were the Heat or the Celtics. It felt like the Heat had more to offer as far as like young guys and picks. Obviously, they acquired a 13th pick. What do I think? Well, if it were 2-on-2, I think the Heat would probably be the favorites to win the NBA championship, but it's 5-on-5. They don't have a lot of money left to spend, and you're going to try to have to piece around Giannis and Bam. So it's great on paper, but I don't think it's going to I don't think they're a threat to the Knicks right now.
Talk to me about tonight, man, because as of right now in the betting markets, AJ Dubance, the kid out of BYU, he's minus 700 to go number 1 overall. Darren Peterson minus 250, so that means Dubance to Washington, Peterson to Utah. Take away just how you think it's actually going to play out. If you were in the situation of these GMs, where would you look for the order to be between Dubance and Peterson here tonight?
You know, I think it's a lot closer than what people think. I think Dubance, we look at him being healthier throughout that freshman season at BYU, and then we look at like an injured Darren Peterson. But when you go back to their high school tape, I think Darren Peterson has outplayed AJ Dubance almost at every stop. And then when they did face up head to head, he did outplay him for that one half that he was available. But even with all that said, I just think that the Wizards are going to lean towards Dubance. It's just hard to deny somebody 6'9" with that athletic, with that much talent to be able to put the ball on the ground. And you just kind of go with the better, the taller player, the better athlete who, I mean, in his own right, he averages 25 a game. So I definitely think it's going to go Dubance 1, Peterson 2.
Is it Boozer 3, Wilson 4, James?
Yeah, I think Boozer 3, Wilson 4. I almost feel like Wilson might as well have his house in Chicago already picked out, just because it's been that way for some time. But yeah, it's the Bansa 1, Peterson 2, Boozer 3, Wilson 4, and then the draft really starts at 5.
And who, in your opinion, then, right now, if you're reading the tea leaves, who goes 5th to the Clippers?
Well, I know the Clippers really, really like Michael Brown Jr., but I also feel like they really like Keaton Wagler from Illinois. Surprise out of nowhere. I mean, if you were talking about some betting, I think he probably could have made somebody a millionaire if you picked his odds on being a lottery pick this time last year. But I definitely think it's between those two. Brooklyn kind of threw a wrench in things by trading away their starting center. Now they only have one center on the roster, so maybe Adai Mara is an option at 6. But from what I understand, is between Wagler and Brown Jr. at 5 for the Clippers.
Okay, that leads me to number 7, where all the smoke is saying Sacramento loves Darius Acuff. And when I look at the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson, I don't know how there isn't more of a correlation in the dog, the point guard, a guy who can get buckets, and Acuff, who's a little bit undersized at 6'2" to play point guard. Do you believe there's any chance that Acuff goes before 7, even if that means Sacramento having to trade up? But do you believe he can go within the top 6 picks in this draft? Because his number in the draft market was set at 6.5.
Yeah, I think there is a world where he does go to the Brooklyn Nets, but at the same time, from what I understand, the Kings aren't going to trade up because they're going to get a very good point guard prospect regardless of who is there. There's a world where it's Kingston Flemings, where it's Michael Brown Jr., where it's Darius Acuff. I know Michael Brown Jr. didn't work out for the Kings, but you're Sacramento. That doesn't stop you from drafting anybody because you need guys. But the rumors are the Kings love Darius Acuff. I think their only hurdle from drafting him will be the Brooklyn Nets, but also the Brooklyn Nets have been really kind of hard to get a read on what they're trying to do tonight. So yeah, it's definitely Acuff a possibility, but I do think he will be a Sacramento King.
By the way, at shops like DraftKings and FanDuel, you can bet the first 5 exacta, which we were talking about, so not just the first 4, which is now a prohibitive price. But your 2 options, James, with either Keaton Vogler or Mikel Brown Jr. at 5, the Debansa, Peterson, Boozer, Wilson, Wagler exactas plus 170. With Mikel Brown Jr. at 5, it is plus 320. One of those, I believe you are correct, one of those, reading the tea leaves, is going to hit. I thought Wagler would drop, but the latest buzz is that he may not go past 6. Is there a player later than the top group of draft picks, so late for top 10, maybe beyond the top 10, that is the most associated with a team? In other words, you know that if this player is available for this team at, say, 11, 12, 13, they're absolutely picking him.
It feels like it's Adai Mara from Michigan to Golden State at 11. Kristaps Porzingis is, I think he played 32 games last year, so he's unreliable there, and he's an unrestricted free agent. And when you look at the Warriors' timeline, they still have Stephen Curry for 2 more years. They still have a lot of money tied to Jimmy Butler. I think Draymond's going to have to restructure his deal. So you kind of need somebody who's young but can still play right away. And with Mara, he reminds me a lot of what Andrew Bogut provided for the Warriors when they won their 2015 championship. 7-footer, very good passer, very good defender. The post game it looks good. The result isn't always what you want it to be, but in Golden State, we're not really throwing you the ball for you to finish in the post. That's for Steph to run off of 1,000 screens, and you got to run into Draymond a few times before Steph takes a shot. But I think that feels like the best bet for me. Where I'm like, you know what, that's a match made in heaven, and that is the decision that they're going to make. But again, the Nets do a wrench in things, but I do feel like Mara at 11 feels like a certainty.
Plus 550, by the way, on that.
Wow. Real quickly, you're based in Dallas. New head coach Dusty May takes over. They pick 9th. How do you think that impacts what they're looking at number 9? Could it be Lendenborg from Michigan traveling with his head coach to the Mavericks?
I don't think Lindenborg is an option here. The history on 23-year-olds being drafted in the NBA is not very promising, as far as like them panning out. I do think Lindenberg is going to be a really good player, but the timeline just doesn't make sense from your best player. He's like 4 years older than Cooper Flagg. So I think it's going to be a young guy. Dusty May, while he does have a lot of insight, he's a little late to the party. The Mavs have been preparing for this for a month and a half now. I do think it may end up being Braden Burries or Nate Ament from Tennessee. I think they'll listen to Dusty, but if they were to select a Michigan guy, maybe it's Morris Johnson Jr. instead of the actual Lindenberg.
James, appreciate it. Thank you so much for making the time. Enjoyed the draft tonight.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me in.
James Barlow, everybody, from NBA Draft Junkies. You can follow him on Twitter at Draft Junkie James. Like that Twitter handle. We'll come back. Dustin has one more baseball team to let us know about that he's made a bet. I will react, as it is my duty to do so. And then NFL betting guide. Let you know what I had yesterday. I'll remind you today if you missed it. Dustin's as well. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Coming back.
The World Cup is here, and VSiN is getting you ready to bet on one of the top sporting events of the year. 104 matches in 39 days. And our hosts, along with experts like TalkSport's Alex Crook, are getting you ready with expert wagering advice and predictions. Can Argentina repeat? Will this be France's year? Listen and watch VSiN throughout the tournament as we analyze the betting values for each match. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on a Numbers Game, live from Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Gil Alexander, Dustin Sweetelson alongside, in for the vacationing Kelly Bidlin. Kelly Bidlin is on assignment. That's how we say it here.
Parts unknown.
Parts unknown. He chimed in on a text last night. I think a soccer text.
Oh,
so he is alive. We know that much.
I would have bet the under on soccer text from Kelly Bidlin.
Well, there was a Paul Carr text, and he's like, "Oh, I want to be on this train." That kind of thing. He's like, "I may be out, but I want to be on this train." We get tweets beating the book. This is from Shrek McPhee, who says, "All the hype and deservedly so for Messi. Yet Mbappe will break the World Cup record this year, 15 years younger. LOL. France is absurd." By the way, have you been following this Golden Boot thing? The standings in the Golden Boot are insane after 2 matches. Lionel Messi of Argentina now with 5 goals leads. Kylian Mbappe of France and Erling Haaland of Norway with 4 each. Denis Undav of Germany, Jonathan David of Canada with 3 each. By the way, Harry Kane, who has 2, gets a crack at it today in his second game to see if he can move up the standings.
Well, I was on the air with Paulie yesterday on Follow the Money, and after Messi's game was over where he punched in the 2 goals, you could have got Mbappe at plus 320 to win the Golden Boot at that point, and then he scores the 2.
Yep. Things
flip again. But more importantly, we haven't even hit this yet. How about the square parlay that hit for everyone around the country that decimated sportsbooks last night? And shout out to our guy Mitch Moss, who he used a little boost on BetMGM. He got 132 to 1, $100 paid $13,000. 2 goals for Messi, 2 goals for Mbappe, 2 for Haaland. It all cashes, and the ticket is good.
132 to 1.
132 to 1.
This is the second time this has happened.
Yes.
The same day. These teams that play, obviously, the same day in the group stage. So this is the second time it's happened where those 3 have got multiple goals. Good on Mitch for cashing on that. By the way, the record, I was curious, for the most goals scored by an individual in a single FIFA World Cup tournament. Any idea what it is?
The most goals
in a one singular World Cup.
Here's the problem with your line of questioning is I'd have to know how many games it takes to win the World Cup to know how many goals they might score.
The problem is not in the question, sir. The problem is in you trying to figure out the answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 12.
Good guess. 13. 13. And who could forget it? Just Fontaine. French forward, 1958. He had 13 goals.
Wow.
Yeah. So, both Argentina and France are going to get to the knockout stage, that's for sure. So, we'll see how far they get and how many opportunities they get.
Now, I do this with hockey every year, Gil, where the playoffs get done. I go, you know what? I got to pay attention to hockey earlier. And in fairness, I did a little bit this year, but I wasn't locked in. I do think there's going to be a ripple effect to this World Cup where I think I'm going to care about soccer more because I think it's beyond the hype now. I think it's very rare you show up at something because we anticipate it every 4 years. It's like when I went to Katz's Deli a year ago. I had never been. I built it up in my head. I watched TikToks about it every night, salivating in my bed. I was like, there's no way the sandwich that I've been dreaming about is going to exceed the hype I've built it up to. It has. I'd say this World Cup has actually exceeded the hype, and I think it's going to carry over after that in America specifically.
Well, if you had tribalism cashing under an hour, bang, you're a winner. Katz's Deli makes its mark. So there's that. That's happening. Another quadruple header today. Paul Carr will give us his thoughts on that. You had one more baseball team before we get to the NFL betting guide. One more baseball team you wanted to mention that you are considering?
Yeah, look, we've gotten to a point with the Pittsburgh Pirates where maybe there's time to buy back. I was very much on the hype train early in the year. I didn't actually bet anything on them. They got off to the hot start. Now they've cooled off some, and I think most of it is from Skeens looking human right now. Mm-hmm. And with that, you can get Pittsburgh plus 235 to make the playoffs. That's around where they are in the preseason. I think they were plus 280 in the preseason, I want to say. Pennant's 30 to 1. They need some help. They need some bullpen pieces here. As we look at them currently in the wild card standings, they're a game and a half back. 2 teams in front of them, Miami and Washington. At some point, you think they'll fall back. Pittsburgh has more depth. They have more talent. Most importantly, they have more arms. And their arms remind me a lot of my favorite team to make a run and win a World Series, the 2003 Miami Marlins.
Wow.
Josh Beckett. Paul Skeens in that role as the ace who you need to get hot in October. You then had Penny. You had Dontrell, Pavano. They had a ton of arms. Pittsburgh's got arms. Ashcraft, Keller, Jones, Chandler, Majemski has moved to the bullpen. They have plenty of guys that they can rely on. Even if Chandler winds up figuring it out during the year, that could be something interesting. Then it's the combo of young up-and-coming guys like Miami had with Miguel Cabrera, Juan Pierre, Luis Castillo, Derek Lee, and this young group for Pittsburgh, Connor Griffin. I know he's hurt, but he was awesome when he was healthy. O'Neal Cruz is having a career year. Nick Gonzalez at third has been good. And then the vets. The vets in Miami were Lowell, Pudge, and then the vets for this team, there's plenty of them. You got Brandon Lau, you have Brian Reynolds, you have Ryan O'Hearn, who's back healthy, killing righties again. I just think that this is a team that is built to be really difficult in a series should they get to the playoffs. But my question is it worth betting them plus 235 to make the postseason?
Yeah, plus 235. It's like you want more than that. So here's the good. I only have good here for you. By the way, the 2003 Marlins aside, because that was my first ever, like, bet my conviction. They were plus 190 every night against the Yankees. Made so much money on that World Series. But the Pirates, the Buccos of this year. Okay, here's the one negative. I'm not into this because it's too early in a Major League Baseball season to make anything of this. They have the fourth hardest remaining schedule in all of baseball.
Sure.
It's June. I don't really read into that. If this was August, right, and you would have bet on the line and it's a shorter runway, then I'd think that's a thing. Right now, I'm not really sure that's a thing. I don't really consider it. The two big positives for the Bucks. Pirates are 39-39. By sequencing, they ought to be a 44-34 team by base runs. So they're a little underperforming on that. By the way, they're a game and a half out of the wild card. You bet them to make the playoffs here?
I haven't bet them yet, but
you haven't bet them.
I'm considering
that's the one you're considering.
I'm considering playoffs, and if I'm going to bet them to make the playoffs, I want to take a little nibble just on pennant here. I mean, it's the Dodgers. They're going to have to beat
you with your nibbles on the pennant, man. Don't do that.
I like to go for a little bit more. Hey, I did the opposite this weekend with the golf. I had Wyndham Clark top 20 plus 195 and nothing to win the event.
That's brutal. By the way, but the Fangraphs projection, because I was saying, hey, it's going to fall short for the Tigers and the Birds, who you were talking about earlier. But Fangraphs has the Pirates finishing 83-79 in a tie for the final wild card position.
Okay, now how much of their projections do you believe on them, not meeting their potential with the chance to play better baseball? Is the numbers believe Paul Skeens is better than he is, and what if this is just who he is this year?
That's absolutely what they believe. It's vintage Skeens, better than what he's been. Absolutely. Anyway, those are just perspective on all those plays. You did pull the trigger, though, just to clarify, on the Tigers to win the AL Central.
Yeah, Tigers 7-1 is the best that I could find out here. And then if you wanted them to win the American League pennant, DK has the best number. It went from 40-1 last night to 30-1. The best I could see out here was 28-1 at MGM. But outside of that, I really wanted that 40-1, obviously. So I mean, a 12-cent difference there, to bet against them there, a $12 difference. I don't know if I'm going to wind up getting there, but I do like the 7-1 to make the postseason.
Okay. NFL betting guide is out. Everybody should run and grab that. Adam Burke did such a tremendous job. Adam Burke was steering the ship. It was Adam and so many others. But a lot of folks contributed to the NFL betting guide. It is out now. Again, you can go to VSiN.com/subscribe. You can get the full football special for just $175. That includes the betting guide, and it is beautiful. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence on the cover there. Full VSiN Pro access through the Super Bowl, $175. That includes the guide. Predictions for all 2026 playoff teams and more. I was talking about yesterday, Dustin. I have the Niners over 10.5 wins as my best bet. What was your favorite season win total that you had in there?
The New York Giants. So you bet on your team. I'm betting on my team.
No, the Niners aren't my team.
The Niners aren't your team?
Skins.
Oh, the Skins are your team. That's right. I always associate you with San Francisco, though. I was just in D.C. last week, by the way.
Was it gloriously humid with mosquitoes and gnats?
It was, but it's weird how the Vegas heat treats or changes the way you treat that humidity, because in the end, it wasn't that much hotter. It was just a little bit thicker.
Love the humidity
over
the oven.
Going from Kelly to me, just a little bit thicker.
Great point.
A little bit thicker.
Giants, which way?
I went over. I'm bullish. I think they make the playoffs. That's my long shot playoff bet at plus 250. We see it happen a lot. I was a little disappointed when I read the worst to first article from Zach Cohen that my Giants weren't talked about there, but they have credentials. They have dependability. They have an adult as the head coach now who comes in and they addressed so many needs. A lot of people up in arms about Dexter Lawrence and how it impacts their run defense. I feel like they're failing to recognize they were bottom 3 in run defense with Dexter Lawrence last year. They've swapped him out for a couple of pros. I really like Reeder as one of them, Shelby Harris the other. They got a corner in Newsome that fills a huge need, and they're going to have an elite pass rush. You get to the quarterback, your defense can win. And I think there's upside with the offense. There's potential here, year 2 of Dart. You just need 2 big question marks. Scatabo, Neighbors to be healthy.
Over 7.5, right?
Over 7.5.
7.5 is the season win total. Over on the Giants. I'm over on the Niners. Over 10.5. You're a Giants fan?
I am, unfortunately, yeah.
Homer.